Hi guys, Mr. Gilbert here talking about air masses. Air masses are area of air or a big chunk or pool or pond, puddle of air, the same temperature and same humidity conditions. Air masses form, or I like to say are born over an area with the same conditions year round. So what does that mean? Well, name the air mass based on where it forms. So temperature wise, if something forms in the polar regions, it tends to be a cooler air mass. Versus something in the tropicals tends to be a warm air mass. I know this may sound like common sense, and it should be. Humidity or water vapor. Continents tend to be dry areas. So if something forms over a continent, like if we have a polar continental air mass forming over northern Canada, it's cool and dry. Versus if it forms over the maritime or ocean environment, there's lots of water there, it's going to be very humid or wet. There are two special air masses. If it forms over an Arctic area, it's very cold, very dry. And equatorial is very hot, very moist. We don't tend to see these air masses in Minnesota. So let's go into more. Okay? We name them. Each air mass is a name named of a combination of temperature and moisture. So polar maritime, cold and wet air mass. So going back here, think about it. You can only get polar continental or polar maritime, tropical continental or tropical maritime. So there's only 4 normal choices plus the 2 special air masses. So I just created a little map here to show, like, here's continental polar, polar continental, dry area, cool. Year round it's like that. Polar maritime, cool and wet. Polar maritime, cool and wet, forming out here. Versus tropical maritime, wet and warm year round. Wet and warm year round. And of course, tropical and continental, wet and dry, the desert areas. And then we have our special equatorial, kind of near the equator, wet and warm, and our very dry Arctic. But the area in the middle is the air mass war zone. Year round, different air masses are going to come and try and fight for territory. This continental polar may grow strong, it may come down. Oh wait, check this out. Here's a continental polar air mass, and it's moving this direction. It's going to start beating or fighting this warm air mass from the tropics, maybe maritime tropical. And where air masses fight each other, we're going to learn that's where front's called. So get ready for the front video and have a good one. Ooh, yeah.